Straight to the top, moving like Klopp, we be them champions. I got a draw, ball in the box, we be them champions. I'm repping the squad, badge on the top, we be the champions.
Yes, my viewers, my listeners, my people. It's your boy Trunkie. You're locked into the Chat with Champions, the official pod show, the Champions Challenge campaign. Hope everyone's having a good start to the year. Again, we're back with some big conversation, some big opinions. We touched on a few things: Man City, Pep's dominance, his effect on Arteta, and how well Arsenal are doing now, unfortunately. Where's Rashford? And I've got a couple comparison convoys as well that I think you lot will love, definitely, especially on the Instagrams. Make sure you're blowing up the comment section. Make sure you're following us, actually, at Champions Challenge, CHAMP1ons Challenge. Subscribe to us on the YouTube as well. Make sure you're liking, commenting, all that jazz. But yeah, man, no further ado. Let's kick off. Let's get into it. So we're here, man. Back, new year, popping, big conversations, as I said. Actually, let's start off first and foremost. I just want to go into more on the health side of things, on the safety side of things. What's it called? Just about Guero. And just a shout out to him, obviously having to retire early with the heart condition and stuff like that. That's been happening a lot. Obviously, Eriksen as well. Good luck on his return. I think Tottenham are looking to train with him, or he's looking to train with Tottenham, so to speak. Alphonso Davies as well. So, yeah, man. Just everyone, first and foremost, just try your best. Stay healthy. Try to stay fit. You know what I'm trying to say? Be grateful because, boy, just tomorrow, everything can change. But just touching on Aguero, actually, and even though he had to retire early, because I still think he probably would have had another 2-3 seasons in him, probably at most. Was he, I think, about 30, 31, something like that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, about that, yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, man, I just think big striker. I just think he changed the league. I mean, he's arguably the best striker the league's seen. Just in terms of his finishing, 2013, that iconic moment when I think he just stole it at the death against QPR for Man City. So yeah, man, I just want to touch on the fact that I think, especially that goal, I think that just kind of symbolized Man City's dominance. Since then,
it was the start of something.
Yeah, man, start of something huge, start of something massive, and I just feel like since then, Man City have just ran away with it pretty much. Okay, the odd time other teams, I think Chelsea might have won it in between 2013 and now or whatever, or Liverpool, or definitely Liverpool. I don't know about Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea have, but yeah, man, I just think he definitely is just sort of like the personification of Man City's dominance. And then you have to just obviously bring in Pep as well. I think Pep as a manager, like, listen, I know everyone says, oh yeah, everyone bigs him up, says he's good and that, but I don't think we appreciate how good he is because he's just still doing his thing. Like, you can't go to different countries, take teams and just be bossing it like that. You know, obviously you got Barcelona, you got Bayern, you got Man City now. Like, what he's done to our English Premier League, he's just blown out the water. And it's not just one time, it's consistency. And just the fact that, 13 points in front? Just smoked Chelsea. Not smoked, but beat them nonetheless. And yeah, man, I feel like when you talk about Pep and Man City, I mean, is he arguably arguably the best manager of the decade, of the generation?
Yeah, in my opinion, he is. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what's it called? But we was chatting just the other day about obviously managers. People compare players, innit? Like, even players from different areas we compare. For example, people will say, oh, obviously was Messi the best of all time. Obviously say he's better than Pele and Maradona and whatnot. Cool. But in terms of managers, like, when you think about someone like Sir Alex Ferguson for United and what he's done for United and how he changed the culture at United.
Legend, by the way.
Yeah, like, living legend. Mm-hmm. Is it fair to sit here and have the opinion that Pep Guardiola's better than Sir Alex Ferguson? I mean, Sir Alex Ferguson's kind of the Messi of the managerial world, where he's at one club and just does a madness at one club. Obviously, Messi's at PSG now, but you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. He's Barcelona, you know what I'm trying to say. But then you've got someone like Pep, who's kind of the Ronaldo of the managerial world, where he's gone to different leagues apart from Italy, which I'd like to see him in Italy, but I think he'll smoke Italy anyway with the right team and the right investment, obviously. But yeah, man, I just feel like, can you compare Pep Guardiola to Sir Alex Ferguson? And to be fair, I didn't want to get into the comparison stuff too early, but I think when you're talking about Pep and what he's done with Man City, you have to place him, I think, as high up as possible. Like, whose career would you rather have?
I personally think he's one of the best we've seen, we've witnessed. Just the way he manages to keep all the players on their toes, manages to keep the camaraderie just in the team, as well as obviously the competition for places. And like we said, I personally feel like he's changed the English game, most definitely. Do you remember when he first came in and people were ridiculing his style of play and saying you can't bring that Spanish
you can't do that
football over to the UK? And now every team
wants to play like Pep.
Even in the lower divisions,
everyone's passing the ball out from the back.
Playing from the
I was
back.
watching, funny enough, what was the FA Cup match? I don't know if it was Swindon or something that played Man City and they gave a goal away not too long ago.
Yeah.
It was Swindon, yeah. Just because they're trying to overplay. To the point where you man are trying to overplay against the godfathers of that, well, probably Barca, tiki-taka, but you know how City's maybe even taking it to another level in terms of they don't have a Messi, Neymar, Suarez front three. They don't even have a striker like that. And he's still bossing the league with no striker.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, when you're playing up from the back, you obviously have to be able to beat the press. And I feel like bar Liverpool, I think Man City are probably, one of the best teams in the world that also work hard and press.
Yeah.
So if you can't play out from the back and go against their forwards who are pressing and the team as a whole, then you're gonna come unstuck, to be fair. So man, I think Pep's an absolute genius. And that's actually gonna bring me on to one of the next questions I wanted to even ask you, because where are you at now with the whole situation with Arteta? In my personal opinion, I think anybody so close to if you're a number 2 and you work so close to a genius like Pep, you can't not be a great manager in the future.
Yeah.
I think he would have learnt so much and been privy to so many conversations and just different ideologies that Pep has. Discipline, eating well. Listen, he's not the same guy. He's never going to be Pep.
Of course.
But I think when you've done, 3 years as a number 2, I personally believe Arteta will be huge for Arsenal with the right backing and the investment. So where do you see Arteta at this minute? And do you think that he gets a lot of unnecessary pressure and a lot of scrutiny from the Arsenal fans?
I mean, you can't deny now what Arteta's done. And listen, you got to rate the board for backing him, because there was a bit of pressure on him in spells. Arsenal, as I said, Arsenal will win a game and it's like, Arsenal are on job, and then they'll go and lose 2 games or whatever, and then everyone wants his head again. So the board kind of backed him and they backed his plan. But listen, I didn't see Arsenal being top 4. I didn't even think Arsenal were going to contend for top 4 this season.
Yeah, real shit.
Like, I thought Arsenal would be where United's at, where we're at. Kind of 7th, 8th, trying to push Europa Conference League and all that kind of nonsense. But what he's installed, and at first I maybe thought, you know what, he's not too strict, but I felt like he was trying to rustle a lot of feathers when he first kind of got there. Like, him and Aubameyang fell out a couple times. Saliba, the centre-back now, I think he's at Marseille, but I remember seeing loads of fans, Arsenal fans, saying that they would like him to stay. They needed the centre-back and Doozy and all them kind of things. And I was thinking, this guy that's coming through and thinking he's a bit too big for his boots because he's coming from City with Pep and that. But listen, we don't see everything. We probably see about 30-40% of what goes on. Behind the scenes, they're working with the players constantly. There's maybe a lot of bad attitudes there that he had to stamp out, which maybe you'll see with Aubameyang in terms of the lateness and the discipline and whatnot. Maybe not bad attitude, so to speak, but the whole discipline thing. And he's probably doing at Arsenal what we need a manager to do at United. Because
for real,
just you get the feeling like the players respect Arteta now, kind of thing. They not saying it's the same way how City players see Pep, because Pep is Pep, but you get the feeling now like when it comes to Arsenal, they've got a discipline there in the team. They got a respect for each other. They got respect for their manager. They got respect for the way they play. Everyone's kind of on the same page. I mean, as you said, I did not see them challenging for 4th, bro. And I didn't see it. When you think about what Chelsea? You kind of think Chelsea, City, Liverpool, Chelsea, United. Those would be your first 4 at the start of the season. Really, them 4. You'd probably even pick Tottenham and Leicester over Arsenal and all that kind of stuff. Arsenal, they've gone about their business quietly.
Well, yeah, they were at the bottom of the league or near enough at the beginning of the season, and everyone was kind of laughing at them. I mean, even I was, to be honest, and I never saw them overtaking United. So okay, that brings me on to kind of my next part, in a sense where we was talking about maybe like attitudes or just body language. Body language is a big thing that's been spoken about of recent. And how do you feel? Obviously, do you reckon the younger generation now probably don't really want to listen too much to the olders? Do you feel that maybe the body language is being kind of misread because there's Instagram and social media, and one little thing you post is going to be everywhere? And yeah, what's your take on that?
It's mad. I definitely feel like just the era of how everything's done, but in regards to football, has definitely changed. Like player power. Obviously, back in the day, your manager made a decision. That was kind of it. But it's weird at the same time, in terms of players speaking out and stuff. Like, I do like the fact that players can come out sometimes and defend themselves. Like, I was even on Insta reading something today, and it was a thing where people were saying, like, when like clubs have been treating players badly for years, and players don't say nothing, but the minute a player comes out and speaks the truth or speaks on how they feel, it's like a big deal. Or you're not respecting the club, you're not respecting the badge or whatever. Not listen, the Lukaku thing's kind of long gone now, but even just that. Like,
yeah. I mean, look at how my man Mourinho treated Mata.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Do you know what I mean? If
Bro,
you were anywhere else,
clubs have been treating players like doo-doo for time.
Yeah.
When they're done with them, they just listen. And people just think, oh, you're just selling the player. You have to remember, some players have kids. They got family. They're going to the school there. They got friends there. They got their lives built in around the area.
Yeah.
And when the manager don't want them, or a new manager comes in, it's just time to up and leave, or a man just gets signed and takes your place, no one don't really say nothing. It's just, it's part of the game. But my one is, like, if you want to come out and speak, as long as when you go on the pitch, you bang and do your job. Like, people need to understand, players don't love the club how fans love the club. Like, they don't. So where you're die hard for your club and this and that, of course you expect a level of professionalism when they step out onto that pitch and expect to see...
And loyalty to a degree, but then, once again,
but then what's loyalty? It's a business for them.
It is a
They're a
business.
commodity. They're just a product. So you could be a player loving your club. Even look what Sir Alex Ferguson did to Paul Ince. Ince didn't want to leave.
Yeah. A lot of players don't really want to go.
Yeah, bruv. He didn't want to go to Italy or whatever. But at the end of the day, the club didn't want him no more. And my one is, you can love your club and be loyal, all of that. If the club don't want you, if new manager comes in, new philosophy, he don't want you, budget out the door.
Even just playing devil's advocate, as much as I understand fans demand some sort of loyalty and respect for the badge, and I fully get that. You know, you pay your hard-earned money to go and support. A lot of these fans, some of them travel across the country, and I can imagine the amount of money they spend on travel and just plane tickets and whatever. So I definitely get that when they put the shirt on, you want to see a player run through a brick wall, and I think that's a fair request. But it also does come down to also fans, I feel, are quite fickle at sometimes.
Very.
You know, a player will pop for a season, have a bad 4 or 5 games, and it's like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? They're calling for his head. And that kind of brings me on to one of my points about Rashford. You know, right now there's this massive...
Where's Rashford, bro?
Well, there's this narrative, yeah. And before we get onto that, I personally feel Rashford could be one of the best strikers in the world. I know you don't really agree. When I first saw Rashford come on the scene, I kind of likened him to Mbappe. Mbappe's got that much more, don't get me wrong. And I think Mbappe has a kind of different mentality, more of a winning mentality or a driven mentality. But I think Rashford's raw talent and his attributes, just how I've seen him play, he's one of the first English players that I saw that had the confidence and wasn't afraid to do a certain trick and play kind of out of the culture. Do you know what I mean? So I think he could be one of the best strikers in the world. He just needs maybe better coaching or something. What's your take on that?
Yeah.
And where do you see Rashford now?
To be fair, listen, he's got the attributes and the raw talent. And as he said, like, I'm not going to lie, when I saw Rashford busting the flip-flap, that's when he kind of changed it for me. In terms of being an English player to kind of bust flip-flap through man's leg and that sort of stuff, English players don't really play like that, in my personal opinion. I don't think I see that enough. But I don't know. Listen, I want Rashford to just be more nasty, bruv. Like, when you see Mbappe, just even the way he walks.
Or that arrogance.
Just the arrogance, blood. Like, he's probably got, of course he's got an ego.
But is that confidence? Don't you reckon
It's borderline. And listen, sometimes it might go over. Look at Ibra. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, Ibrahimovic comes out. He's just, your best, even like Ronaldo, your best players in the world, like, I feel like Rashford has the raw talent to be the best player in the world. Don't get me wrong. If the coaching definitely helps, I'd love to see, as much as I hate to say this, I'd love to see Rashford working with Pep for 3-4 seasons.
Or someone like Klopp.
Or someone like Klopp. Yeah, I mean, obviously, man loves Pep, innit?
Yeah, of
but
course.
someone in that kind of, that ilk of manager, because I don't really think Rashford's had that.
No.
And if anything, he came on the scene and saved United. Remember, Europa Cup, he scored, like, was it 9 games in a row, something like that? But yeah, man, I don't know. I don't see that ego.
Okay, so what do you think he needs to do? What would you do if you were Rashford, or if you were someone that was sitting with Rashford and you had a few minutes, you were coaching him or whatever? What are the things that you think he needs to do to get to the next level? Listen, bear in mind he may have off the field issues, and I think I heard Alan Shearer talking about it the other day. You know, players they're humans.
Yeah,
you know, they've got
we forget
they go
that
through
as
the same
fans.
things. Yeah, they go through the same things that we all go through. So, and confidence is a big thing. Confidence is massive. You know, you score one goal and everything changes. So I don't want to be too harsh on the guy, because I think he's a young player. I think he's still got time. He hasn't really peaked yet. And like I said, I definitely think that he could be one of the best strikers in the world. Definitely challenging Mbappe and Haaland. You know, he might need a different club or maybe a different coaching strategy. But what would you want to look for? You said the nastiness. What else do you think?
Yeah, I would just tell him, yo, you need to be like, just be more selfish. Just, yeah, man, you just need to be more selfish. Like, you definitely need to watch the big stars, watch them more and see their decision making and see what they do on the pitch. Mainly, I feel like the decision making is not there at times and stuff. But yeah, I would just tell him, yo, like, I'll convince him. I feel like he doesn't believe how good he is.
Yeah.
He doesn't. Like I said, when you see Mbappe and that walk on the pitch, Mbappe knows he's hard. He knows he's the hard. He knows he's going to be the best in the world. Like, no one can tell him nothing. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And I feel like even that bit of like that greediness, even with Salah, as much as I thought Salah's more of a humble, I don't really get the ego type from him. At the end of the day, when he's playing, he's greedy. He wants to score.
Salah
like,
wants to be the main man.
Bro, he wants to be the main man. Man, as Rashford, do you want to be the main man? Do you want to be the best in the world? You're gonna need to be a bit selfish. You're gonna need to want to take a man's position. That that niceness, like, there's just a niceness that runs through United. Personally,
Soft.
yeah, blood, cotton wool soft, blood.
Yeah, no,
it's
for
too
real.
much. Like, that's what I think. So listen, Rash, if you're listening, bro, like, blood, you've got everything you need, bro. But you just need to be a bit more nasty. You need to be a bit more selfish. You need to believe yourself that you have the ability to be the hardest. As like they said, being Mbappe level, you've got everything. You've got the raw pace. You've got the trickery. Do you know what I'm trying to say? You've got the agility. You've got everything. But I just think mentally,
He hasn't got that next.
he hasn't got that
bite.
I don't know, bruv. I just don't.
I believe Rashford. I believe Rashford will come good. What I will say as well is a lot of players do come to Man United, very class players, great players. So we have like Di Maria, obviously Depay. There's quite a few players over the years that have come and not really succeeded.
Falcao didn't bang. Sanchez didn't bang.
And I do think that there's a structure in United, or maybe a coaching issue, or an identity crisis, where we don't get the best out of these players. And at the end of the day, I think people like your Rashfords, your Greenwoods, they're still very young. They're always trying to nurture and grow. And to do that, you need to be in the right environment.
100%. 100%.
And have the right training and right, obviously, dedication as well. So, yeah, okay, fair play.
We be them champions. I got a draw, ball in the ball.
So I was saying, we was talking about it slightly earlier. I just want to kind of touch back on just the kind of body language things. Obviously, I don't want to try and... There's a fine line between body language and bad attitude. So I'm not here to say anyone's got any bad attitudes. But what's your view and your take on just body language on the pitch? And for argument's sake, obviously, you've got Bruno, who gets quite frustrated and very emotional on the pitch. And then for me personally, Lukaku, I kind of feel sometimes Lukaku, when he doesn't receive the ball that he wants, I think he displays it too much.
It's a fine line, isn't it? Because even then, listen, there'll be some situations in the match where I agree with the player doing it and some where I don't. I do feel there's some players that I feel moan a bit much. I put myself in that. Obviously, we ain't played at that level Premiership, but everyone's played football. Everyone's had that person on the team that probably moans a bit too much or draws people out a bit too much, and it's kind of annoying for me personally. Like as you said, at times with the Bruno situation, listen, Bruno moans.
You think it's passion, innit?
But yeah, like Bruno came through, done a madness for United, and listen, as you said, a lot of players come to United, don't do nothing because the environment is just rotten from top to bottom, personally.
Or they just can't reach the level that's expected.
There's something wrong at United for these players, and Bruno came and kind of put United on his back. Bruno, you can tell he's a winner. He captained Sporting Lisbon. Like, he has that bite, that drive that I don't feel enough players have, and I feel like he gets very frustrated with his teammates. I feel like he does. I feel like he feels they don't want to win as much as him. They don't try as much as him. So sometimes, yeah, I do think he can moan a bit, but I don't like the narrative that's kind of built around Bruno. Like, oh, he's a whinger, he's a moaner. Like, my one is, bro, if we had more players that were like Bruno, we'll be doing a lot better than we are now. And when you are at that level and you're looking around you, I said, no matter what level it is, if you're on a football field and you're putting it in and you're looking around you, brother, and you just got players that are not pressing, just not making a simple pass, blood, it's going to get you mad, especially if you're that player who's highly driven. Like, Bruno is highly driven, and we do not have that at the club. Brother, you see Pep going nuts. You see City.
I was just about to say to you, and I think maybe that's also where United like having. So one thing, having a leader in the camp, in the amongst the players or the captain, but I think having a leader as a manager. So when you see how passionate Kante, Pep, Tuchel, Arteta,
Tuchel loses
even what's his name, Simeone, like they don't tolerate anything below par. Now, when you look across on United's sideline in our management, I think Rangnick's got a bit more emotion than Solskjaer had.
Yeah. But I still don't think it's enough.
Yeah, like, I feel like when you've got your manager breathing down your neck on your ass.
Yeah. And in this day and age, the players need it. I feel there's so much distractions. There's so much. Listen, there were distractions before with the money they were getting, but now it's not just the money, it's the ventures. I think now that you have got players that can do fashion, they can do this, they can do that. They're dating this model who's going here and there. Like, when you're on the field, to be a manager at the top, you need to demand the best from your players every day. Every time, like, you can't afford to lose.
You have to rein them in.
You have to rein them in, fam. And I said, players, big egos, big money, pulling up in the nicest cars. Like, bruv, it's very difficult if you aren't a player yourself. And like, as you said, some of these players, bruv, they're young, 21, 22, 23. Like,
yeah, millionaires.
Like, bruv, you're not a grown man, like, proper in your mind, managing your money and stuff. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, so. Yeah, man, I do feel you need, like, to have that oomph, that bite about you, which I feel the game's kind of lost, especially playing it, little tackles and that. Man can't look at a man now without him rolling around and you getting sent off for foolishness. Like, you can't put in them hard challenges no more. Everything's a bit too nice at times. But, yeah, back to the point again, just a little bit with the body language and stuff like that. As in, Bruno sometimes can moan a bit. I feel like Zaha sometimes. I feel like a man will do, like, a bad pass and then he's seen it's bare throw up his hands and that, and sometimes it can maybe make you not feel. It doesn't make you feel good. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
but
I'll be honest with you. I'm not a major fan of Zaha. I think he's a talented player. I think he's a great player. I personally don't like the way he
the mannerisms.
For me, he moans too much. He's always getting in a passer. He's always oversat and so small. And yeah, that's a whole nother story. But
then one can argue that's what makes him kind of, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
like,
but then
and the thing is, he is Crystal Palace's big player.
And I
he
get
is their
that,
game changer.
But for me as well, and that's where I think sometimes management and working with younger players and mentoring comes into it, because there's a way that you can constructively criticize a teammate. You know, I think sometimes when you throw your hands up or you point to a space where the ball should have come,
or the Lukaku, man,
there's 60,000 people. There's
just
people
looking
watching
at you. Yeah.
And my one is
you already feel like an idiot for making a bad pass.
We can all see the pass should have been played, or the person or the player acknowledges, hey, maybe it was the wrong pass. But I think when you demonstrate that, you're just magnifying the situation more. My one is, bro, get on with it. You know what I mean? The ball didn't come through, onto the next one, you know? And sometimes instead of kind of hailing up a man, instead of kind of berating a man, hail him up, give him a clap. I'm not saying Lukaku doesn't. I do see him clap players sometimes, and I do see it. And same with Zaha. But it annoys me when I see a player get mad and then 5-10 minutes later they don't play the pass that they should have played.
Yeah.
Do you know what
exactly
I mean? So I just definitely think that there needs to be a better structure with it, especially with the younger players. You know, you get more out of someone when you give them positive feedback, as opposed to then berating them.
But
So
but then listen, as you said, maybe it needs to be left down more to the manager to do that.
Stamp it out.
But then, or to, I can't explain, like, for example, Tuchel. Bruv, sometimes you see their player give a bad pass. Tuchel goes nuts, and you're thinking, raw, like, he's chatting to man like you could see him going nuts on the sideline. But I think when it is your Tuchels or your Peps, because it is your manager, it's a bit different. But when you're on the pitch and you've got a player, and it depends on whether you think they're a leader or not as well. Like, with all due respect, like in my personal opinion, like if you're on the pitch for United and you do something wrong or whatever, and you hear Maguire digging you out,
yeah, definitely. I mean, that actually gets me onto a point, because we were talking obviously about Bruno and obviously United and the drive and the bite they have. Obviously, us being United fans at the minute, we're not too pleased with where we are. Obviously, we made slight progress, I think, and then we've kind of taken steps back. For me, I don't mind losing games, and this is why I rate Arteta to a degree, and I love what he's doing with Arsenal, because I don't mind if we're losing games or drawing games here and there, but you can see that there's an identity and something's about to happen. You know what I mean? There's no point winning games here and there and drawing a few, but it doesn't look promising. You know what I'm trying to say? Rangnick's only lost one game in his 7, but if you ask me how we play or our formation or what we're doing, I couldn't really tell you. And listen, it's still early doors for him, so I fully get that. But you looking at United now, where do you see us going? What do you want to see more of? What manager would you want to see coming after his interim's done? Talk to me.
First thing, I think we have to come to realization, that, and listen, I don't mean no disrespect or whatever, this is just my personal opinion, but sometimes players are not good enough. Some people are just not good enough.
Okay, boom, on that, right now, United, who do you think not good enough? Shouldn't be there?
Lindelof, not good enough. Maguire, not good enough. Shaw, needs good competition. Is Tellers that competition? Not too sure. Matic, not good enough. Fred, not good enough. Dallo, not good enough.
So the whole team, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not even, listen, and when I say not good enough, I mean not good enough for Manchester United. Like, you have to ask yourself, would these players get into Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City? Would they be players that you look in their position and say, you know what, bro, we'll give him a run for his money? No. Like, I'd probably say only Wan-Bissaka, and he's in. Another thing, shout out Wan-Bissaka actually, because me and you were talking about it not too long ago. You pointed it out to me. Most improved player, I think, in the Prem, let alone just Man United. Wan-Bissaka,
in the Prem, you sure?
Most improved. I feel for somebody, bruv, I'll be honest with you, I used to watch him on the ball, and bruv, it was not good enough.
Get frustrated, innit?
Bro, for me, I used to watch and be like, bro, I feel like as a professional football player, you should have a standard, a technical standard. Like, as much as athleticism is important and stuff like that, I feel foot on the ball, control it, certain body positions. You can tell when a man can play technically and when a man can't. And I felt because he played in a team where he was very much more defensive, he didn't really need to know how to be on the ball.
Crystal Palace.
Yeah. But his improvement in 6 to 8 months, like, bro, I see man doing little flicks now, getting out of his feet, whipping
I
it.
I agree. I think the stigma's kind of stuck with him that he's not a good ball player, to the point where people aren't actually realizing that he's actually making progress. Yeah, I think if you watch Wan-Bissaka on the ball now, listen, he's not the finished article. No one ever is. But if you watch him on the ball now, I think he's come a long, long way from when he first arrived.
Bro,
he definitely seems a lot more comfortable receiving the ball.
He is a right back that if you were Chelsea, Man City or whatever, you would look at him and think, arguably, he could contend. Okay, one might say going forward he's not as good as Trent, but defensively he's arguably the best one-on-one defender in the world. Like, no one gets past Wan-Bissaka. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So I just want to say, in terms of even him, like his improvement, I know Man United, the players get picked out a lot and stuff like that, but he's probably the only defender that I look at and I think, like, first name arguably on the team sheet when it comes to being a defender. Like, shout out Phil Jones as well. And listen, Phil Jones got a lot of memes and stuff like that, and bro, I don't see a massive difference between Phil Jones and Maguire. Like, as football players, I don't see it.
Or
like,
Lindelof.
Yeah. Bro, not good enough, bruv.
Yeah,
Lindelof is not good enough, bruv.
And actually, that brings me on to my next point, because we'll come off United for a bit, because we'll be here all year. Defenders, right about now, I've got a little comparison for you. So I'm thinking,
I love a comparison.
we was talking about it, Rudiger or Van Dijk.
Jeez.
Where you putting that? Who you picking? Who's better? Talk to me.
Rudiger or Van Dijk? That's a tough one, you know.
Because obviously Van Dijk's had this title. He's one of the best defenders in the world, one of the best defenders in the league. In my personal opinion right now, it's Rudiger. I think he can go anywhere. I think. So
you're saying Rudiger in his prime, Van Dijk in their prime. Yeah. Who are you picking? Who might?
Well, they're kind of both in their prime now. No.
I feel like Van Dijk's maybe not fallen. Maybe Liverpool have fallen off. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh.
Man said fallen off.
Not fallen. Yeah. Well.
But compared to
like the thing is, the Man City Liverpool thing, it always swings around in a pen. I love that they always innovate the next year.
Rudiger or Van Dijk, you're swerving.
I think I go Rudiger, you know.
And why?
I think I go Rudiger. I feel like Rudiger just has a bit more. Just the way he carries the ball out of defense for me is just. He has that aggression as well, man. I think he's a proper. Listen, they're very similar. Don't get me wrong. So it could be close, but I just feel he's just more of a leader. I just feel he's got more of that bite. Long passes, he's got it. He'll get on the end of a header. He's the other day he's winning 2 penalties in the box for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Like, the guy he grabs the ball by the horns and just tries to make something happen. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Again, listen, shout out Van Dijk. I think Van Dijk's a big defender, but Rudiger for me, yeah. I have got to go Rudiger.
So you think right now Chelsea should lock him in a contract? Because obviously he's on. He could go on a free. They're still in discussions.
They need to. Yeah, they need to. I mean, the thing with Chelsea is, I'll be honest with you, they'll just go out and buy somebody else who they'll then kind of mold it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's no one. Who do you think is out there right now that can really do what your Van Dijk, your Rudigers, the top defenders right now, Diaz, there's not that many on the market, so who do you go and buy?
I mean, yeah, they do need to lock him down, put it that way. They do, because he definitely is the heartbeat or one of them. And that's the thing is, bro, Chelsea's got more than one dominant figure. They've got more than one leader. Like, look at Thiago Silva. Do you know what I mean? He's 36, 37, and he's got just as much of that kind of, not as much as Rudiger in that sense, but just that calm head, that understanding. That you could tell, he's a leader. Like, you can just see they've got people that have that experience, they have that know-how, international level, club level. They're just top notch.
And that's where I feel like, back to United on the quick one, is where we struggle, because when you look at our central defenders, I don't think they couldn't even stand next to your defenders at Chelsea.
Not Diaz, not
Liverpool,
Rudiger, not what's it called? Not Van Dijk.
Van Dijk, Matip.
I don't think even Matip gets shouted out enough. I think Matip's kind of deep, fam. He carries the ball out really well out the back as well. But yeah.
So you're going Rudiger.
I'm going Rudiger.
Okay, cool. I got another one for you right now. So we was discussing it earlier actually. Whose career, when everything's said and done, and you finally hand up your boots and that, whose career would you say that you would rather have, Harry Kane's or Divock Origi? And I was going to give you some stats actually, but I didn't want to disrespect Harry Kane.
I was going to say Origi,
but no, actually. But yeah, I mean, Origi's titles at the minute, obviously he got the Champions League winner. He's obviously a FIFA Club World Cup winner. He's had the Prem. He's had a Europa League runner-up. So obviously Harry Kane hasn't had anything.
Golden Boot.
Yeah, okay, Golden Boot. But trophies, I'm talking about winners' medals and trophies. So off the back of that, if you had to say it, who would you rather be when it's time to retire?
I guess you'd have to be Divock Origi over Harry Kane.
Man said you have to be.
Like, when it comes to looking back at your career, when you're sitting around the fire with the grandkiddies and they're asking you questions and that, like, clutch moments, big moments, Origi has those big moments. Like, that 40, 50 years after you finish playing or whatever, like, even when you're gone, they'll be playing that Barcelona goal that he scored with Trent and that
on the corner, yeah.
for years to come.
He's definitely a Liverpool legend.
Liverpool legend.
Because I personally believe...
Like Solskjaer is a Man United legend just for doing a little thing like that. So, get me? So, Divock Origi is definitely a Liverpool legend. But, but then again, on the flip side of things, like football players want to play. You want to play. And as much as Divock Origi has won these things, technically, and yeah, he's played a part in it,
he hasn't been the main focus.
Bro, how focal were you? Like, you've always been third fiddle.
But he's got a full-ish trophy cabinet.
Yeah.
And is football not about winning trophies? They've all got money. So is it...
It's also about love playing. Like, do you want to go... Do you want to play every week? Do you know what I mean? Like, you're kind of trained... Because once you have got all the money and you can get all the stuff... And okay, yeah, he's got a couple trophies and stuff now. Like, my one is... Yeah, you're part of the group, but you're always fringe. Like, do you want to play every week? And when you look at someone like Harry Kane, like, okay, yeah, he hasn't won any, what do you call it, trophies at Tottenham or with England. Don't know if that's ever going to happen anyway. But as an individual player, accolades...
England came pretty close. Got to the final.
That's true.
And so, okay, so then do you reckon Kane sits there and looks at your people like, obviously, Grealish making the move from Aston Villa, even who else has kind of made a move and gone on to win trophies? Well, I mean, even like your Sterling, when he moved, he left Liverpool.
Bro, look at Leicester.
Went to thing.
Like, when you deep it, like, but then again, Harry Kane wouldn't have ever moved to Leicester to win a trophy.
Well, no, but he obviously didn't get the move to Man City, which he so badly wanted. And that's probably more of the regret now, because when he looks at people like your Grealish, I think Man City will go on to win the league this year. That's a trophy for Grealish. And he's just come from Aston Villa. So when you do make that next step, do you know what I mean? That's what you're making that move for. So if you were to think about it, do you think Harry Kane would have more regrets than Origi? And yeah,
and I guess you do, don't you? Like, because as you said, as much as you want to play football, you play football for that moment when you walk on the podium and you're lifting that trophy. Like that, you know, Origi and them man there, when they celebrated winning that Champions League, they're never gonna forget it.
Yeah,
like,
and they've done it as a team effort, and because, like you said, he scored clutch goal moments.
Yeah, man,
he definitely feels a part of it.
100%.
Like he should do.
That's what you do it for, innit? I guess. Much as you said, as much as playing every week is nice and stuff like that. When you are at the level where you feel you should have won stuff or you could have won stuff, because I mean, it's almost unheard of. Harry Kane is not winning the trophy.
Yeah, he doesn't deserve that.
How?
I think a striker of his ilk, and I think he is a big boy striker. I know he struggled this year, but some of the goals and stuff I've seen Harry Kane score, even I was surprised. And I definitely think someone like him needs to retire with some medals under his belt. Yeah, 100%.
Surely, man. I mean, yeah. So on paper, I'm saying, yeah, Divock Origi has had a better career than Harry Kane.
Wonderful. Okay. All right. So another one. I was looking at the other day. I think I seen Rio's 11. They were showing Rio Ferdinand's 11 for the year, and I was so happy and so gassed to see my main man in the middle, Veratti. So we were having this debate the other day in the yard, and I basically wanted to ask you, what is your view on Veratti, and what's your view on my unpopular opinion of saying Veratti is probably the best midfielder in the world?
I mean, over Kante?
Over Kante, over everyone. I think he's so hard, it's unbelievable. Like, I think he just doesn't get noticed because he's playing obviously in France. I think when I watch Veratti, just what he does with the ball, his possession, I've never seen someone that's so good on the ball technically that can put in those kind of crunching tackles and really throw themselves about. You kind of get one or the other. You have a kind of twinkle toe type of player, or someone that's good with their feet but doesn't really do much on the aggressive side of the game. I think he has everything and more, apart from maybe goals.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think he's one
best in the world. He's one of the best in the world. I don't think the best in the world.
Okay, where would you rank him, and who would you rank above him?
I think Kante's better than him.
You think?
I just think Kante's just more influential, more effective. I just think Kante's maybe not technically better than him. Like, give Veratti his flowers. Like, on the ball, this guy picks up the ball anywhere. Like Veratti picks up the ball anywhere, any box, and brucks a man and then pops it off. But I just feel like when you're thinking about centre midfielders, like Kante is 2 people. Like this guy, box to box, breaks up play, drives the ball forward, and is actually kind of good technically as well. Not as good as Veratti, but he's good technically as well. So I think Kante is better than Veratti.
Nah. not having it.
Kante over Veratti.
Kante's hard, but he's not. In my opinion, he's not. He's not better than Veratti.
Yeah, I mean,
I think Veratti's even better than Iniesta.
I mean, bro, come.
Hey, let's not get into
Listen,
that.
let's get into this.
Let's get into this. Dramas in there.
Hold on, nah. Let's bring the drama. Let's bring the heat, baby.
What are you telling me?
All right. My people's them. What? You Veratti is not better than Iniesta. Like Veratti in his prime, Iniesta in his prime. Like, okay, they're slightly different centre midfield, and that's where you obviously got to look at it as well. Even though you're centre midfield, you have your different types of centre midfield. You obviously got your more attacking ones, defensive ones, box to box. There's a variety. But Iniesta, okay, yeah, he didn't put in the crunching tackles that maybe Veratti does, but I feel technically he's better than Veratti.
So he's quick one, sorry to interrupt you. So for me, and this is where I feel that sometimes, obviously football's a matter of opinions, but when people discuss Messi, listen, we think Messi's great, is the best in the world. People would say he's only done it in one club, and he done it because they built the team around him, and he had Xavi and he had Iniesta. Whereas Ronaldo's slightly better because he goes elsewhere and does it with others. Yes. I feel Iniesta playing with Xavi, playing with obviously Messi, and having that team kind of
just the environment, the Barca
triangle. Obviously, yeah, listen, Iniesta's one of the best in the world. Great. Never take that away from him. But I think when you look at Veratti and his all-round midfield play, I think everything that you would look for in a midfielder, yeah, I think he's better. I think he's better still.
Oh, my days. My chest.
Hey.
Nah, listen, I definitely see where the unpopular opinion comes from. Listen, it's not out of this world to say that.
And he's fully underrated as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing as
fully
well.
Underrated.
Right, like I said, and for people that are going to listen, I'm on the Iniesta side, innit? I'm team Iniesta through and through. But for people that are going to sit there and be like, nah, blood, that's not even... Watch Veratti. Like,
watch the guy, bro.
He's very deep.
The guy
is very deep.
Cold.
But Iniesta, like, clutch moments just for Spain, for Barcelona... Like,
I think it's just where Veratti plays personally. He's never going to get enough attention or the marketing or whatever you want to call it. Obviously, Iniesta was at Barca in his prime. Messi was there. So, and listen, Iniesta's a GOAT. Definitely. He's hard. But
I know, pound for pound, player for player.
My personal opinion, yeah, player for player, pound for pound. If I had to pick, I'd rather have Iniesta, I'd rather have Veratti in my team than Iniesta, because if you haven't got Messi in your team, I don't think Iniesta's that good.
No.
In my person, if you don't have Iniesta, Xavi, and Messi together, Iniesta's
bro,
not gonna
I think Iniesta,
be
even
as
for Spain,
hard.
Iniesta was deep.
Oh yeah, he's deep.
No,
but Veratti's
for
deep.
me, Iniesta's probably the reason why Messi was also as good. Like,
yeah, no,
Iniesta
I get that.
probably didn't get enough light because he played in Messi's team.
But if you played Veratti with Messi, Iniesta obviously he's with Messi now, but Messi's not in his prime.
What's happening?
Yeah, well, he's not in his prime. But if you play them, I think in his prime, put Veratti in the center, dominates. Absolutely dominates.
Yeah.
Hey.
Listen, I think, as you said, pound for pound, player for player, it's arguable. I mean, thinking Veratti is better than Iniesta.
I know certain men think I'm crazy right now, but that's just my view.
But
still,
it's nah.
Lastly, though, before we kind of dip as well, I just want to go into a quick one of just ones to watch. Who we've kind of seen that we think are doing bits or going to do bits, who's kind of impressed us. I'll just give you a couple names at the minute. So obviously you got Gallagher doing well. Martinelli's obviously doing his thing. One of my main favorites, I think, is Podence. I watched him play, I think, a season or two ago, and when I watched him, I thought he was so cold. I personally think he's better than Neto. Listen, that's what I'm saying. It's people, because when I say better, I think maybe not better right now, but I think he has the potential to be.
Neto was deep. Maybe because you haven't seen Neto for a while.
Obviously,
now.
I know he's been injured and that, but you know what? Neto reminds me a lot like Jota. I feel they do the same thing.
Nah.
Yeah. So what you're saying? Jota's better than Neto, or Neto's better than Jota?
I think Neto's better than Jota.
Oh, do you?
Jota's a good finisher. Like Neto wing, like just old-fashioned wing play, left foot. He can play on the left. Cross it normally like an old-fashioned left winger, like how Giggs used to do it. For me, he can play on the right and cut in. I just feel Neto was.
Have you deep Podence, fam? Like,
no, I've deeped him, but I've deeped no more.
I think, okay, well, like I said, it's just one to watch personally.
Yeah.
I think Prudence is definitely one
Look,
to watch.
these comparisons, bro.
What are you telling me? Who have you seen that's
Yeah, I
caught
agree.
your
You know,
eye?
I've liked Martinelli for a while, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And like, listen, trust me, I hate shouting at Arsenal players, but I think Martinelli's got something definitely.
And what's that young boy for Crystal Palace? Is it Elise?
Yes, Elise.
Yeah.
I think
he's cold.
Deep. His left foot just looks. He
definitely
just
cold.
looks sick with it. And actually, quick one. Actually, shout out. Obviously, even Crystal Palace. Shout out Vieira as well.
Yes.
Of just what he's doing at Crystal Palace.
Yes.
Listen, we'll have to recognize real. I feel like when you're a brother, when you're black, African, Caribbean heritage, whatever, especially in roles where you're not seen often, it shouldn't be a thing where you feel like you're representing and trying to show the world that it can be done by us, but he is.
Yeah, that's where we're at in the world right now.
In the world, unfortunately.
100.
Yeah. In terms of just seeing black faces in decision-making roles, in powerful decision-making positions. Let's not even talk about chairmans yet and all of that.
Yeah,
but,
no, definitely.
Well, we do need to talk about chairmans and that, but for now, just what he's doing, I love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, personally, just being a black brother, I'm a Crystal Palace fan.
Yeah.
Whenever they're not playing, if they're not playing United and they're playing someone else.
3 points.
Yeah, I always watch Crystal Palace now. They've become my second team because I really want to see Vieira do well. I think he's breaking down barriers. Listen, Vieira
100%.
was a big boy player. We grew up in that era. The Arsenal Invincibles and Henry, Bergkamp, Vieira and whatnot. So he's been at the highest level, won trophies. He's a boss. But I love to see him now with these young players and how he's transformed Crystal Palace into being a more exciting attacking
Expansive
team.
club. Yeah, man.
Yeah, most definitely. So when I see them play, yeah, it's always 3 points for Vieira. I support them like I would my own team to a degree, just because I think when he does do well and get to where he gets to, it does open doors for more black managers, which I think the game definitely needs. We looked
100%.
at the referees the other day, the officials. I think I saw it on Instagram.
I think the last or the only black referee I've ever seen is Uriah Rennie.
Yeah.
And I would love to get Uriah Rennie on the show to chat about his experiences, because I don't even want to begin to imagine the abuse
Well,
he must
back
have
then
got.
they didn't have VAR and stuff, and a lot of the decisions that you made were yours to go by on the field. So
And that was it.
Yeah, I think now there's a bit more protection with VAR.
Yeah. But the diversity is not there.
It's not there at all.
Not at all. And is that because of the abuse? Maybe.
I mean, there's probably so many reasons why either people don't want to go into refereeing or they're not allowed to get into refereeing. But by hook or by crook, more needs to be done. Because I actually saw the post and literally there wasn't, I don't think there was a black or ethnic face in there.
Yeah.
I think it was literally predominantly white, male dominated. So, yeah, I mean, that's another story, another issue for another time. But, yeah, back to Vieira.
Representation, people.
Exactly.
Representation is important. Yeah. I didn't want to, it's been a while, innit? But it's been on my chest, the whole Lewis Hamilton thing. And that we know what's going on in their blood. And that's what happens when there's no representation in the sports that you're in, especially in the upper, what's it called?
The upper levels,
the
the
board
senior
rooms,
levels,
the
yeah.
senior levels.
You're
pulling
invisible
up
down here.
stupid stunts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the worst thing as well. Like, I'm sorry, Verstappen, bro, give the trophy back. Like, don't you feel shame? Don't you lot have no shame when you do stuff like that? Like,
Let's not even get into
you
all
didn't
of
win that. But
F1
yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
man.
representation, people, is very important. And when you've got representation and you've got people that understand your walk of life, making the decisions, certain decisions don't get made.
It just makes everything more fair. It's a more of a even and an equal playing ground.
Yes.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yes.
All right, well, boom, my guy. You want to sign off with it and let the people know when we'll be back? And
100%. We'll be back very soon.
For real.
Just apologies again, the viewers and that. Sometimes we're not as proactive as we should be, but trust me, now we're back on this thing, man. You lot already know what it is. Follow us up. Twitters, Instagrams, TikTok, at Champions Challenge, champion with the 1. I ain't spelling it anymore. Yeah, man. Again, leave your comments and stuff. Any ideas, any little comparisons you guys want us to make, anything you guys want us to talk about in regards to the football world. Yeah, man, please DM us, hit us up. We're there. And we're active this year, definitely, 100%. But people, them, stay safe, stay blessed. And we'll catch you soon.
Straight to the top, moving like clock, we be them champions. I got a draw, ball in the box, we be them champions. I'm repping the squad, badge on the top, we be the champions. Getting them gone, I bang on the up, just like a champion. Straight to the top, moving like clock, we be them champions. I got a draw, ball in the box, we be them champions. I'm repping the squad, badge on the top, we be the champions. Getting them gone, I bang on the up, just like a champion. See the way that I manage this team. Always getting hella messy out here. See the way that we damage your team. Always getting hella techie out here. See the way we dismantle your team. On the field, we just bang on the green. You might image a man on the screen. Like bottle the talk. Blood, you ain't Gary, never low carry a coach. 8 balls, better back it up, bro. That ain't 10 yards, better back it up. 10-10 on the pass that I package to bro. On the move.